My name's Jonathan Monks, and this is my third attempt at recording my first YouTube video. The reason I say it's my third attempt is because it's relevant to the content of the video, because I have spent 37 years in daily practice. Different practice, but primarily the one which covers all of those 37 years is the practice of yoga. But I'll come back to that in a moment. So, what is this? This is my third attempt at a YouTube video. Why am I doing it? That's a really good question. Well, I'm doing it because during those 37 years of practice, and by the way, those 37 years are basically daily. When I say daily, it means I probably had 5 or at the most 6 days off during those 37 years, meaning I've done something every single day between 10 minutes and 5-6 hours. So I've done a lot of practice. Now, that could be because I'm OCD, or it could be for many reasons. My primary reason is that I've always desperately wanted to feel what it's like to sit upright. I'm still there, but I'm way closer than I was. So why am I putting something on YouTube? Well, the main reason I'm putting it on YouTube is because I have so much information inside of me, so many little gems that I have dug up in my quest to get to the place that I really want to get, that these gems seem to help people. I've spent decades teaching and offering this stuff, and generally, almost always, this stuff helps. Because practice helps at first. But with practice, you need to know what you're practicing and why you're practicing it. So the what of today is me using this third attempt to put myself on YouTube. By the way, the first attempt, I tried to use something fancy that would record my voice, and it doesn't work in this format. The second attempt, I was really pleased at. In fact, I really thought I've got that completely. But I cut the top of my head off because I didn't check it first of all. So this is my third attempt. And the practice for me is now putting the work out into the world, and YouTube seems to be the best way of doing that. Why? Because there is this deep urge to do so. It's as simple as that. And how? That's a really good thing to look at practice through the lens of how you're doing it. And so at the moment I'm doing it with an iPad with the screen turned to face me, so I actually know that I'm in the frame, on 2 yoga blocks in my bedroom with no special lights and no special recording equipment, because the object of putting something out there is more important than making everything perfect. That's a huge lesson inside practice. Just doing the damn thing is more important than perfecting the damn thing. Doing the damn thing regularly does something, and as my dear friend Caroline says, practice helps at first. And practice does seem to help at first, because when you practice, you get this elation and this joy because things are changing, you think I'm moving in the right direction. And then it's moving in the right direction, and then it comes up against something. You find resistance in yourself, mentally, physically, emotionally. You don't want to practice. You know, oh, I can't be bothered today, or no, I'm too busy, or I can't find the time, or I'm aching, or and at that point we stop. And when we stop practice, then that period of time can get longer and longer and longer, and during that period of time we lose the why we're doing it. It kind of floats off because this resistance is too much. The resistance is too much for the why. The why can't get through. So that's why some kind of daily practice, the what we're practicing, is so important. What we're practicing needs to be certain good things, but what we're practicing needs to lead us to the goal we're looking towards, we're aiming towards. But when we get to that point where practice from the outside or from our head looks as though it's not working anymore, it's not helping anymore, that's the point we really know that we're doing good practice. Because at that point when we're going, we've found the resistance we need. We've found the thing in the way of the thing that we want to get to. And that can be physical resistance. For instance, it could be when you're sitting, you might find that there's stiffness in the back, or there's stiffness in the hips or the knees or something like that. It could be a mental resistance, as in, I'm too tired, I can't be bothered, it's not working, or something or other. It could be emotional resistance, as in anxiety comes up, or fear, or a nervousness, or a sadness, or a melancholia. Good word there. But the point is, you can then change what you're practicing. You can change the angle of what you're practicing in order to keep reaching towards the same outcome that you wanted when you started the practice, when you started on day one, which reminds me of a lovely thing that my friend Charles says. He always says, you have to do two things with practice. You have to start and you have to continue. Obviously, it's not his thing, but it's something passed down through the ages because it's true. We need to start and we need to continue. But sometimes we need to adapt what we're doing. So it's more appropriate for us in our current state. But it means we stay in connection with the why we're doing it. How we're doing it can also massively change. So for instance, during this adventure into YouTube that I am now currently exploring, lighting may feature microphones, stuff outside because of the stuff I want to show, a different frame because I want to show you postures and movement and how meditation works and the anatomy. And so all of those things can be edited in and changed, and practice can advance and it can become more complex. But the main thing I've found over these 37 years of daily practice, where I've had 5 or 6 days off during that long period of time, is that there is such utter complexity in the simplicity of practice. So for instance, sitting upright sounds really simple. And it is super simple because you just put a few things together. And when you put them together, the uprightness happens, or rather in my case, the uprightness happens to the point that I am stuck. The blockage, the resistance, the karma, the twists, the turns, it comes up to that point, and then I have to work with that point to soften it, to release it, to integrate it, to digest it until it then moves and I am a molecule more upright. So the why I am practicing continues to be the wind beneath my wings, or the wind in the sheets of my sailboat that allows me to navigate the world and each moment as I go forwards. What I'm doing can adapt, because sometimes I am physically tired, sometimes I feel as though I am really abundant mentally, but a little bit sluggish physically. Sometimes I'm really vibrant physically, but generally a bit depressed. So the what we do can be adapted into that, but the why we're doing it ideally remains quite constant in our practice. Although, say if you start running because you just want to get fit or lose some pounds, but then during the running you start to go, I'm really enjoying this sense of movement, then the why can adapt and shift and change. And then, like my dear sister who runs for meditation and peace of mind, then you can start exploring new things. The why of why you run still feeds the activity, the what you're doing, but it starts to become deeper, it starts to manifest deeper. And if it does, then you know you've got a really good practice. So the why of your practice can also adapt, but remember that the why of your practice drives you forwards. It's the reason that you get into the running shoes or the swimming costume or the yoga pants or the Tai Chi shoes. The what you're doing can also adapt, but ideally the what you're doing is in line with why you're doing it. And the how you do it. The how is something that I'll definitely come onto in future talks and also demonstrations. But today is just really putting something out there. As Rick Rubin says, it is a diary entry, because this isn't about me or how good I am or being fancy. This is just about me getting stuff out that may benefit some of you who are in practice, who do want to cultivate some kind of daily discipline. Because when you do, the rewards are remarkable. They bring you closer to the thing that you yearn for, that you want, that you desire, until it becomes integrated. And since my practice is a practice of yoga, yoga means union, and union means you plus something other than you, then this practice gradually integrates you, creates a union between you and that object that you are so fascinated by. So, in short, this is me, Jonathan Monks, doing what? Producing my first YouTube video. Why? Because I've got lots to share and I just want to start. How? With 2 cork yoga blocks, an iPad with the screen turned around to make sure that I am in frame. And so the what, the how, the why of today is successful. It's leading me in the direction that I really want to go in. So when you practice, or when you think about practice, hopefully the what, the how, the why will also help you. See you soon, and thank you.